here we are. So, once again, welcome to everybody to this second session on UCMS and SUR module. Yesterday we have seen the application. We have provided an overview of this UCMS, how the system works in terms of business, how it all come together, and Daniel did a demo on the navigation part. So I have asked you to do two different exercises. The first one was mainly on the processes, the UCMS overview, some very conceptual questions. This was an online exercise. And the second one was a navigation exercise where we asked you to go into the system and do a few things. Save some queries, collect or export some data from there. So so far we have received 14 answers, and we will encourage you, if you have not done the exercises yet, to please do and send that to us before the end of the process, before the end of tomorrow, actually, for us to gather all the results and also to include this in the monitoring process, because as explained during the VTC, the exercises are also part of the assessment. So it's just for us to make sure that you understood the different steps and the different elements that we are teaching every day. It's also a very good way to practice and not forget what we have learned during the session. So we really encourage you to do the exercise. On top of that, Danny, I know that you went through the different answers. So if you can please tell us what are the main points that or the main outcome takeaways of the different exercises.
Yes. Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon to some of you in VTC. Daniel Criado speaking. Hello. Yes, we went through some of all the exercises that we received, 14 out of 28, so it's 50% received so far. We do encourage you to do them. In case that you haven't done them, we will wait up until Friday. We know that you guys have to do more things that attend to these WebEx sessions, but it's important for us to get your feedback and see whether the sessions were well digested from your end and whether there are certain points that we want to reinforce at the very end or maybe in the next sessions that we may have in January. So overall, it went very well. The only point is that some of you struggle just a bit in order to create, save, and retrieve a query in the system. Probably the query business is the most complex, let's say, feature in UCMS, which eventually you'll see as you are going to use the system that it will become something very handy and useful. So do not worry about that. But yes, some of you had a bit of a problem in order to save or retrieve. Once you save a query, where to apply the query again, right? So we had a couple of questions in the support session, so we went through those. And in case that you guys want to go again through some of the points in terms of navigation query or some other points, we can do them or review them again in today's support session after the main session in SUR. And finally, I put what I call a challenge question at the very end of the exercise, and only 1/3 of the participants were able to, let's say, give me an answer. Although some of you told me in the exercise that somehow you received an error message when you tried to apply the query. So I tried this morning and everything worked fine. So maybe it was the bandwidth or connection problems. But in case that you have doubt doubts or you don't know very well how to proceed for that particular question, we can go again in the support session if you think it's important. Besides that, everything went well, and we do encourage you to continue working on the exercise. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Saya.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. It's a very good recap of the results of the exercises. Today's session, what are we going to see? Let me go back. We will first do a very short review exercise in few minutes to just check if you were attentive or paying attention to what we have said yesterday, very quickly. And then we'll go and mainly spend time on creation of an SAT. Some of you will have the role, as I said yesterday, the administrator role, or and you will be able to create SATs. For those who do not have this role, this step is still very important because it's very similar to the steps on creating an SUR without a template or without an SAT. So this might, even if only a few of you would be able in the system to create an SAT, the steps are valid for everybody. And then from there, we will create an SUR from an existing SAT. We'll go in the system again and show you concretely how this this will look like and how the system reacts. We also have an exercises for you, which will mainly be again going into the system and creating or applying what we have just learned during this session. And as Daniel said, we are planning again 1 hour support session for you to cover today and yesterday. So if you still have some questions on the navigation, because we know that it is, yesterday was a very long session and heavy, a lot of information to digest. Don't worry, we are still here to support on that. So while creating or while doing your exercise on creating an SUR, we are available to answer any navigation question. So just before starting really the content, what I would like to do is to ask you some questions and work a little bit and review the yesterday's session. So normally a pop-up should appear now on your screen with 4 questions. And I would like you to start answering these questions, and you have 3 minutes to do so. The polling will finish in 2.5 minutes. So go through it, take your time. Those questions have been covered yesterday, normally, and we'll see what would be the result. I'll give you 2 additional minutes, and then we see how you're doing there. I can see here that you are very active, and most of you are answering the questions, so please don't be shy. That will not count for for the final results or for the certification. It's just for you to assess your knowledge and see if you have if you remember all what we have said yesterday. So you should have 1 additional minute to answer the questions. So 30 remaining seconds to answer the question. And I can see that most of you have already finished. So thank you very much for the participation. Yes. So the time is over now, and I am waiting for the results to be extracted. So here we are. Let me go through the question and tell you. Yes. So let me go through the questions. So the first question was, which role can create an SAT? As we mentioned yesterday, and as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the session, the user with an admin role can create SATs. Not all the planners can create SATs. Everybody can create an SUR, but only few admin would be able to create SATs. In the system, as we said yesterday, and we will see that a little bit later, there will be some existing SATs that you can use for creating your SUR. And if there is no, then an SAT will be created, and we'll explain a little bit later how this will work. So what are you doing while querying your results? Actually, you are filtering your list records. So as Danny explained yesterday, the query is filtering and requesting some data to be pulled out from the system. Can you retrieve a previous saved query? Yes, you can. And I think most of you did answer very well to this question. Why the system documents is useful. As explained yesterday by Danny, this part is very important because it already contains reference document, and also you can access from there. You can access the SUR main body template, which is a Word document that you can download and then update based on your need. And then we can see that a little bit later when creating our SUR. So I think for these questions, for the fourth question, it was a little bit not very clear for you, but no worries about that because I will explain it again later. So thank you very much for your participation into this short exercise. And having said that, I think we can start with the SAT and the creation of an SAT. So first of all, what is an SAT? SAT is a new concept that has been created and implemented in the UCMS system. Why do we have those SAT? It actually will be considered as a baseline for planning purpose. It will avoid the planner to create an SUR from scratch every single time, and it will also preserve the institutional knowledge. So as I said, the aim is to develop an easy way for system users to create SUR documents, to define unit-specific requirements that can be repurposed for mission-specific and unit requirements, to leverage available master data in selecting major equipment, unit characteristic before major equipment, and SS and self-sustainment categories. It's also a way to standardize the format and structure of the SUR. The SAT actually is the starting point of the process. So we go from the SAT and then we go to the SUR and MOU, and what you have created in the SAT will be actually visible when you create an SUR from an SAT. And then when you will create a little bit later, when this will be implemented, when you will create the MOU, what has been created in the SAT will be visible in the MOU, because everything is triggered from one module to another. So this is what is explained in in this graph here. So the standard Annex template, you can create the Annex A header. The list and the details is done at the moment offline, but you can create the Annex B and Annex C by including the different items and equipment. So an SAT is mission or TPCC agnostic. So it's really kind of frame without any specific data related to the mission or to the troop. Once you have created that, you go to the SUR. It can be mission SUR or an RDL SUR. As we have explained yesterday, the system allows us to create an RDL SUR, and then we will see how to do that later when we create an SUR. And from this SUR, you will be able at a later stage to create an MOU and an RDL agreement. And all the information that you have included in the first step will remain through the whole process. So you remember yesterday the SUR module, how it is done step by step, and the first step is the, as you can see here, so the first step is the template, and then we go to the draft, and then the approval. The approval for the moment is offline, but it will be online at the release of the next packages. But the first step, as said, is the creation of the template, and actually the SAT creation is under the very first phase. So, as said as well yesterday, the system allows us to create annexes in the system. So the different annexes will be reflected there. At the moment, for SAT and SUR, which are the main modules that you are seeing now, we can only create the Annex A header. We can create the Annex B major equipment and Annex C self-sustainment. And for the rest, it will be offline. Before going further, I'm just looking at Daniel. Is there any question at the moment? Okay, cool. If you have any question, don't hesitate to use the chat, please. If I'm going too fast as well, don't hesitate to stop us. So, how do we create an SAT? You would recall this graph or this process that we have seen yesterday. And actually, the creation of an SAT is this. The part that I'm highlighting in yellow at the moment. So, wait, sorry. Okay, what does that mean? It means that we go into the system, there is no SAT available. So we start and create an SAT. From there, we populate the SAT headers. We select the category, we select the unit type, we select all the information that we need. And we populate the header in the list itself and in the form. You remember the two different parts in the system. So the upper part of the screen is called the list, and the part below is the form. So we populate and specify the category, the unit, the type, the branch, and then the strength or the unit size. From there, once this is done, you can create the annexes. Annex A with the header, only the header, Annex B including the major equipment quantity, Annex C including the different SS categories. And then we save it. So again, mentioning here that the approval is at the moment outside the system. The approval process is, I would say, under construction for the SAT, if I may say. A board will be there, if I'm not mistaken, to validate all the SATs. But however, the production will have 13 different SATs that you can start working on. I think I am I think I will go in, maybe I'll go in the system. Okay, let me just show you a little bit how the steps and how this will look like before going in a demo. So you can see on your screen the print screen of the application. And the first is to go on the SUR module. And then, as Daniel said, the SAT list is there close to the SUR list. So you need to make sure to select the SAT list to all see them. So just seeing, again, Krishna, thank you very much. I see that the UCMS board will approve the SATs. The 13 SATs will be based on existing signed RDL SURs. Thank you for the specification, Krishna. So once you have selected the SAT list, let me point this out here. This might be a little bit tricky, how to find the SATs, but because it's kind of hidden, but those two are different. So the SAT is just close to the SUR. Once you have selected that, you click on New. You fill in the headers, as I explained. You can do that at the list level, you see, at the upper part over here, or in the form on the bottom of the screen. Then you create an Annex A, and as we have seen yesterday, to see the annexes, you have to click actually on the SAT name. Then the SAT will open, and then you will be able to see this screen. Normally it will open automatically with the Annex A header, and there you fill in this part. To create the Annex B, it's the same. You click on the Annex B header. You can you would need to create the annex. Normally it's empty, so you need to create the annex, and then to fill in and add the different items. And the same for Annex C. Here the same, you click on Annex C. I'm going quickly because I would like to show you concretely how it is done in the system instead of spending too much time on that. Don't worry about taking notes at the moment. You will receive the PowerPoint just after the session, so you will be able to follow up this. So let me go in the system. Give me 2 minutes to open up. I don't know if you see my screen now. Yeah, cool. I am connecting to. So Danny, of course, showed us yesterday how to connect. So I hope you are familiar with this step. Oh, damn it. Oh, sorry. See, I think so. Okay. I'm facing a bit of problem, so I apologize about that. And while I am trying to connect. Yeah. Oh, here I am. So sometimes it doesn't work directly, but sorry about that. So just I see a question here from Fabrizio: is the approval of the ACT done in UNHQ? And Daniel answered that the board, we believe that the board is in New York. Can you please confirm, Krishna, how this will work, where the board will be sitting or based? Sorry. Okay, so back to the system. You click on SUR. As I said, that's the very first step, and there you see ACT list, and from there you have two options, here on the list or here on the form. So you click new, and the first thing that you have to choose is the unit category, police or military, because this will influence the rest of the line, of course. As we saw yesterday, the structure and category is very much depending on the unit category here. So I will just show you. I am putting random information just to show you. One thing is on the effective date. Please note that the default date is the date of the day you create the SAT, and this is valid as well for the SUR. When you create an SUR, we will see that later, the effective date, so you have to pay attention to, if it's not valid as of today, please put the right date there. The expiration date, we will see that later. It's when an SAT is not valid anymore, so you can expire it by choosing or by putting a date here. Or if the SAT is valid for only a certain period of time, then you need to put a date. But usually this is empty. You can add remarks, and from there, actually, you see the statute here and here. And when you are on draft statute, you cannot create an SUR. So you are still drafting it, right? But there, to put it active and continue and being able to create an SUR, you see here, you need to change the statute. As mentioned yesterday by Danny, all the fields with the red star are mandatories. So the system will not allow you to go further if all those fields are not filled in. So you need to select something, and sometimes, for example, you where is it? Yeah. So for every single field, you need to select an option. So from there, if I see, I changed and I selected another one, and the name of the ACT appeared. If I click on it, and actually the name is composed by the three first columns. So it's the unit category, the unit type, and the branch. This is the name of the ACT that I have created. If I click on it, then I'm able to add and edit the annexes. Before going further, is there any question on the chat?
Yes, not a question, but a comment from Krishna, just to elaborate a bit on the board that will eventually approve the SATs. You shared with us that the board is now to be established. Terms of reference are being prepared, and basically will be an expansion of the existing ECOE board, comprised by OMA, Police Division, UCSD, relevant field mission units, and the technology partners, OICT and Umoja.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Danny. Thank you very much, Krishna. I put you as a panelist for you to intervene at any time during the conversation. Sorry, I didn't see you in the list before when I started. So now you should be able to intervene and communicate or chat with all the participants. Thanks. So thanks for the clarification on the board. Back to the creation of the ACT. Those steps are actually very similar for each for the creation of an SUR and for the creation of an SUR without ACT. So once you are familiar with that, the rest will be quite straightforward and easy. So how to create an Annex A? And again, I'm repeating it. At the moment, the Annex A is only the header. So you need to click on New, and there you add the unit strings, and it's a free box with numbers. You can also add comments if you want in the remark box. Once you have done that, you go to Annex B, and actually when you change, don't worry, there is no save button, but once you're changing from one screen to another, your input is saved. So I'm going back to Annex B. I create first the header, and I can add the remark. You need first to create a header before being able to add any item. And in the items, you see here you will see when you click on New, you will see a line where you can enter your input. And actually, there is a predefined list of major equipment. So you can select what you want to add in this specific SAT from this list. And as Danny showed yesterday, you can query if you have something in mind, something specific. I don't know. You see, when you type, you can see automatically the category. You can also do that with the subcategory and the description. So you see, when you type on telephone, you already have a list there, and then all the elements or all the items and equipment category are visible there. And you have here the description and the statute. And as you can see, we also have special case equipment available for selection. So let me add this, for example. And you can go on and select as many items as you want. Once you have done that, you can specify the quantity and insert a remark. Is there any question on how to add items for the major equipment?
Yes, Fabrizio now is asking whether if there is a new special case that we can include it.
Very good question.
This I would leave it to Krishna, if you don't mind to answer. So normally, correct me if I'm wrong, Krishna.
I have an echo.
If I am, normally it's all predefined, so you cannot add yourself at this stage of the SAT. You cannot add any special equipment, but you can always put a note there. For example, for this, you can add a description. On this specific equipment. Otherwise, I see here that Krishna is saying there will be no special case items in SAT, but you will be able to add items that are not part of the COE manual in SUR. I hope this answers the question. Thank you, Krishna. Okay, I see there another question about the quantity in a COE manual. Some items are given in terms of sets, like set of 6. Yeah. Is there a way to figure that out? If I'm not mistaken, this is specified. The items that are there are in line with the COE manual. And when it's set, it is specified in the description, if I am not mistaken. Let me find an example. Maybe. If I do that. Yes. So in the description, you can see if the equipment is a set. Yes. And Krishna is confirming items that are of a set are specified as such in the product description per the COE manual. Thanks, Krishna. Okay. This is for Annex B and items. For the Annex C, it's the same similar process. So you first have to create the Annex C header. Put a remark if you want. And from there, you will be able to include SS equipment. So same again, you have to click on, you can do that from the subcategory. Yes, you can launch your query from the subcategory or from here, actually. Okay, I have never, okay, so this is something that I need to check. So better than to go to click new and then go in the subcategory to open it. And so there you have the list of all the SS item as per the COE manual, as you can see it. Yes, Danny.
Yes, I believe that in the line items, when you click on query, you will query all the line items already extracted in Annex C. So if you have, I don't know, 1,000 items there, you would query or filter those list of items.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
So you can from here then do your query, and you see all the different categories that are listed from the manual. If I'm not mistaken, this is really very much following the COE manual. Sorry, even in the ordering that it is displayed there. So let's see what is in there. For example, and then in the Annex C, you would have to, once you have selected an item, you would have to choose from the drop-down list if the service is provided by the UN, the contributing country, if it's not applicable, from another stakeholder, and from EU. That I forgot that one. So again, Krishna, your help is requested there. But I guess depending on the type of lease or the type of agreement or whatever, you would have to choose that. You would also have to choose the applicable strength for how many people. African Union. Thank you very much. So another yes, for our list of acronyms. There's a lot of acronyms in UCMS, and we need to all remember them. Yes, from once you have selected the service provided by, you select the applicable strength, and you can also add a remark. And actually, this is it for the creation of the SAT. Once this is done, you will be able to use it as a reference for the creation of an SUR. Any question, any remark before going back to the presentation? Okay, perfect. So this is actually the creation of an SAT. So from an SAT, as explained, you can create an SUR. This will be the drafting. And actually, this is the step where most of you will start, actually. So there is an existing SAT. You know that it's there, so you don't have to start from scratch. So you select the SAT that is applicable for your SUR. Then you would need to select the mission. Actually, the SAT has specified before they are mission and TPCC agnostic. So as you have noticed, we have not entered any mission name or any TPCC. Sorry. And this will come at that stage when you create your SUR. And I see, Krishna, they are yes, they are related, but you can change them based on the requirements. Okay. Don't know which. Okay. Okay. Don't know if. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we'll see that once you have your SAT, you create the SUR, and there you would have to enter the mission name. Once actually you enter your mission and you need specialization, your SUR is pre-populated and you have to update it. That's it. So you have to update the SUR headers according to your need. You have to update the Annex A header, B, and C. And then you would have to select the main body template for the system document. We will see how to do that. And actually, the system has the template, but you would have to update the main body outside the system. So this is an outside the system step. And for the rest as well. So you have to create your Annex A, the unit organization. You would have to create the additional annexes. And then generate the entire SUR, which is also offline. So you will be able to export Annex B and C and put everything together, the main body, the additional annex, for signature and for approval. So, and the approval is also outside the system. And as seen, yes.
Yes, Ada. No, just we were trying to link the questions and the answers with all this chat. Okay. Fernando asked whether the applicable strength in Annex 3, in Annex C, has any connection with the strength in Annex A. And well, the answer from the business, and in this case from the UCMS project team in New York, is that yes, both are related in terms of the strength, both annexes, but you can change them based on the requirements. For example, if you have a HF communications radio, but you don't want it to be done for the full strength, then you can adjust that applicable strength in Annex C. Okay, so both, if you go to, you guys take a look at the chat, you'll see that some of the questions are answered by the team in New York in the chat itself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you, Danny. As we have seen for the special case, and as Krishna specified, there is no special case item in SAT, but since we are in creation of SUR, now you can you will be able to add them. And as the COE manual mentioned, the special equipment is a major equipment, sorry, for which, because of the uniqueness of the item, its high value, or the lack of generic group, a standard rate of reimbursement has not been defined in the table of reimbursement. So it should be of a value greater than $1,000 US, but this is not the only criteria to determine if the equipment is a special case or not. And we'll see that in the system how to include them. So as mentioned, it's for the special case. We'll be able to add them items of special case on SUR and MOU. So instead of showing you the different steps on PowerPoint, maybe it's better if I go into the system directly. And you see, I am under the SUR module, as you can see here, and I go on SAT list, and I will just take the one that I created. I'm selecting, where is it? Here it is. So you select the one that you want, the SAT that is, and you can see there is a list all here. Once you click on it, you can even create an SUR from here, from this button, on the list part or on the form part. Okay, and it will be exactly the same. You will see a pop-up. That's where I told you before, the SAT are mission and CBCC agnostic. So, but the SUR are. So that's where you will have to insert the mission for which you would like to create an SUR, and the unit specialization. I'm just choosing randomly. And here, actually, the SAT that you have created is for the unit category military, and you cannot change that, okay? At this stage, this is not feasible, because you have selected an SAT for military category. So you submit, and actually, if you noticed, we went from the SAT list to the SUR list, okay? And all your SUR header, all here, and on the bottom in the form, is pre-populated with the same information that was in the SUR. And actually, if I click, to open the SUR, it's the same than to open an SAT. You need to click on the hyperlink of the document name, and that opens the annexes. And as you see, the annexes are pre-populated based on the SAT. Here we go. So Annex A exists already, but you need to update it. Annex B, the same, and Annex C, the same. So before going further, you need to make sure that all the mandatory field, remember, with the red star, are filled in. And actually, the system, if you want to leave, for example, will not allow you without filling in all the mandatory fields. Okay? So you will need, the mandatory fields are the police the true police strength, the unit location, and the unit structure. And those three fields actually are mandatory for the SUR, but we're not existing. We did not do that for the SAT, so that's why they are blank. And yes, go ahead.
Yes, if I may. If you guys remember, yesterday we went to the icon global lookup. That's where basically you will have important information related to the mission, where you eventually will create the SUR upon. So unit location, structure, all those, all that information will be probably there in global lookup. So get familiar with that icon, especially before creating the SUR. So you will have important and relevant information related to the mission itself that you will have to fill in now that you're creating the SUR. Over to you, Zaida.
Yes, thank you. Yes, the information that are there in the global lookup are very, very important for the draft of the SUR. At the moment, I am including, of course, random information for the demo, but for the exercise, you will have accurate information where you would have to fill in based on concrete and realistic scenario. I see here Fabrizio asking if two units location, if we can include two units locations, because some units are split into two different locations, and I don't see any. It's free. Comment on dit ça? Free text box, sorry. So there is no limitation here, and it's very up to you to add anything you want. See? So there's no limitation. And a very important point is the troop police strength here, this field. I don't know if you noticed, but when I started, the unit strength of my SUR was empty. And once I have entered the troop police strength, it automatically filled in based on this. So imagine I'm still on my draft SUR, and I want to change because I made a mistake. You see, this will be changed automatically. So this is very, very important to keep in mind, because your Annex A, so the personnel that you are entering, the number of people or the capacity of the people is linked to your header, your SUR header. Okay. And then Annex B and Annex C works the very same way than the SAT. So we have the Annex B header here, and you can update it. And as you can see, the mission name has been retrieved from the header from here. Okay, so this is all linked. You can add any item, but you cannot add an annex because it's already existing. Okay, so if this annex doesn't fit you, any of the item is in line with what you want, you would need to delete the header, delete the complete annex, and then recreate a new one. Okay, I can show you how to do that. You see, and it's all empty, and then you create and you start from scratch Annex B. But usually, if you use an SAT, the SAT will be somehow relevant for you. Oh, I am freezing.
It happens.
It happens sometimes.
At some point, I think we all lost Saida for 10 seconds. I think it was a bandwidth problem, and it's related to the connection right now.
Okay, sorry. Good to know, Danny. So actually, I can't do anything. My browser is frozen. So let me reopen my application, and I will start where I was. So some errors sometimes. Let me start all over again. And we will see as well if all what I have saved is still there. I have a problem. Yeah, I will try with another browser. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, just a reminder, guys. It's absolutely normal. I mean, in the training environment, sometimes you get logged out, and if you try again to log in, still with the same browser, and you still see the error message, a workaround is to use another browser, Mozilla or Internet Explorer Edge, and from there you will be able to log in again.
Yes, thank you, Danny. So here I am. Let me try to find out my, I think that's the one. Trying to find my, no, that's, I think that's the one. No. Yes, here it is. Yeah. So I don't even remember myself sometimes. Yes, yes, that's the one. So you remember I have deleted the Annex B, and I can create a new one from scratch again, because what is this? Oh, it's already recorded. Oh yeah, there's already one. Oh yeah, I have created already one. So I cannot create two different annexes, but I can add items that are more relevant for my SUR. And again, it's the same, very same process than for SAT. So you select the item, you add the quantity, and you can add a remark, and you can also add special case as we showed you before, and then add a specific remark related to that as well. So the very same process that I just showed for the SAT. Any question, Danny?
So far not, but I think I don't know whether we highlighted yesterday in terms of navigation, but I took what just happened with the login and logout. As Saida was working, we were logged off automatically, but if you can see, we were able to retrieve the record, meaning that every time in UCMS and Civil, every time that we are clicking from one field to another, automatically the system records your last action. So you can always make sure, I mean, you will be sure that whatever you're doing in terms of SUR or documentation will be saved, regardless whether you are logged off or not. In any case, if you go to a menu, you can always go and save your record, but you can be assured that all your records will be saved as long as you are clicking and navigating, let's say, through the different fields in the system. Okay.
Yes, thanks. So Annex A, again, just a header. Annex B, I'm just summarizing and repeating again what I just have said. You can only create one annex per SUR. I mean, one Annex A, one Annex B, and one Annex C. And then you include the different items based on your need. You also, from the SAT, can delete an annex and restart all over again, or you can add new items for your annex. So, for example, I need an office. I will enter that here, and again, I choose the service provider. And here you can also, for the already existing items, you can change and you can review any input that is there. For example, on the SAT, I have mentioned that the percentage will be provided by UN, but for your own SUR, it will be provided by the contributing country. So you can change that, and you can also change the number of people or the applicable strength for this specific item, and as well as the remarks. So everything is editable, even if it comes from an SAT. I showed you how to delete an annex, but you can also delete an item. For example, you don't need this or for your SUR, so you can click on it and then delete the item. And instead of deleting the whole the whole annex and then start all over again, you can only delete the items that you don't need. Okay. This is about the SUR header. We can see here on the top about the Annex A, Annex B, and Annex C. This is very similar to the SAT, right? What is additional in the SUR application here is those two tabs. Actually, you can add any attachment in the system to your SUR, and you can add actually a file. So I can attach, for example, any type of file, and you see here the format of the file that I just uploaded, but you can also add an URL. And this will be annexed, attached to the SUR, okay? And as you can see as well here, you can track who has put each the attachment. You can also add a remark. For example, anything that you want the reader to know. You also, this is for the attachment, and you also remember yesterday we talked about any confidential elements of the SUR. So you will not attach them and put that in the system, but you will mention that in here. Okay, so please do not attach any confidential element, and do not put, because it will be visible by everybody. But you can say where to find it. I don't know, or put a reference of the document, or anything that is relevant to make the reader know that there are additional attachments to the SUR, but it is external to the system. Any questions so far? Good. Very good. I don't know, before going further, maybe just to make sure that all is clear, can you all please click on the yes button to confirm that you have followed and this confidential element is clear for you. Very good. Okay. We will not break, but we will close the session earlier than expected, because actually we have covered almost everything. There is only the audit trail to explain, this tab, and the statute and sub-statute before explaining the exercise. So thanks for those who were paying attention. Hopefully this attachment part is clear. It will also be part of the exercise, so hope that you've got the concepts. Otherwise, we will remain available in, after the session for any question. Okay. So there's a feature here which might be very useful for you as a SUR creator, and also to track the progress and the input of people in this specific SUR. So, if you have noticed, in the SUR header over here, you can see who has created. You can see my name, who has created the SUR. You cannot, this feature is visible when you create an SUR, but not when you create an SAT. Okay, so you can track the SUR. And actually, you see that as well here, that it is me who has attached the different elements there, and you can see when you click, when you want to know, imagine you are several people working on one element, or one SUR, sorry, you can see who did what, okay? And you can see the different, what has been recorded, what has been done, actually. And please note, here, you don't have anything, because I started the process, so there was no change. And when you create an SUR, it's by default, it's draft, and by default, it's work in progress sub-statute. Okay, so this is by default. This is important because we will change this. So, as I said, the approval process is done offline. However, the best practice is to track your document insert it manually in the system. Okay, so imagine you have finished your draft and you want to send this for internal concurrence. So you go into the statute and then you click here because you have sent it and it's not in your hands anymore. Okay, and you see here the sub-statute, all the different steps of approval. This is the different steps. It will in the future be automatized, but for the moment you would need to do that manually. Okay, so I leave my SUR, and if I want to go back to it, imagine you've done, this is it, you finished, you send this for internal concurrence, and then you want to check what has been done. Okay, so your colleague wants to see where the statute of this SUR is. Okay, so he can go into your SUR that you have created and he can see where it is. And you see here, before, I didn't have those two lines. And now it's on internal concurrence, but before it was on draft. So you can see like step by step, and it will be tracked at each step, if I may say. Is it all clear, crystal clear? If you have any question, please, that's the moment. Because I think this is the end of the demo. Danny, any questions?
Just a comment. We are drafting on a daily basis a bit of a Q&A document where we are including the main questions, comments, and the answers from the technical point of view and from the business point of view on a daily basis. So in case that you missed any communications in the chat, you will be able to retrieve all those in this document. That's a piece of information. Then we do have a comment from Fabrizio. Basically, it's a question whether references to catering communication in Annex C, where will be that information? And the answer from there is that all those information relevant line items related to Annex C and have remarks for specifications will be outside the system for this initial release. Okay, so in case that you need further information for Annex C and for particular services for self-sustained equipment, then you will have to rely still outside the system for this initial release.
Okay, super. I think this is the end of the demo. Let me go back to the presentation. I just want to, okay, so actually we have seen the different steps, you know, how to create an SUR from SAT, and in the PowerPoint, as I'm showing now very quickly, because this is the steps that we had just covered, you will have this as a guideline that you can use also for creating your SUR or creating your exercise. So this can be your reference document even for the future. So no worries about that. If you miss any part, you will be able to retrieve the information in the PowerPoint. And actually what I wanted to do, so you see it's every single steps that I just explained described in the PowerPoint. I have not, okay, oh yes, this is an important part that I have not covered, and I think it's important. So I go back to the system now. we have covered the creation of an SUR header. We have covered the creation of Annex A, or at least the update of Annex A, B, and C. Now, what about the main body, the SUR main body text? So, as I explained, and as Danny showed yesterday, the reference document and the SUR template is under the system document. Okay, you will download that, and as it is shown here, you need to allow the pop-up in order for you to download it based on the browser, of course, based on the browser that you use. Hopefully, here you go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But no worry. I mean, this is the training environment, so that's normal. My suggestion is each time if you encounter any issue, close the window or close the tab and start again. And usually the second time it works. So you can either open the Word document, because this template is a Word format, or save it on your desktop. Very much up to you. What I will do now is just to open it for you to see how this will look like. And here it is. Okay, so this is the main body text where you would have to update every single part. This is actually something that you should be used to, and based on your SUR and need, this document needs to be updated based on that. Okay, and actually when this is finalized, you need to attach your Annex A, Annex B that you will retrieve from the system. And Danny explained yesterday how to export it, and he will also go through it again tomorrow, how to export Annex B and Annex C. And then you add your Annex D and the rest, which has been created offline you add the additional annexes to this document for signature and approval. Okay, and this is the main body template. So again, system document, and then you would have it just here, the SUR template. Okay, yes.
Yes, to reinforce what you just mentioned in terms of system documents, and especially for SUR template, Krishna is saying as well that he's encouraging to you guys to use the SUR template that is in the system, please, because we know that this is the latest version and that's the one approved. This way we do have more control over the versions that are not dependent or what you have in your shared drive or in another type of files, personal files. That's one comment. Another comment from Krishna is that the electronic workflows in terms of approval process within the system will also be coming in this future release of the tool, and you will be able to submit for review and comments. The statuses that Said explained before and the log of the different statuses and changes will be more like an internal control by the system based on those actions. But the workflow itself in terms of approval process will be coming in a future release. Over to you.
Thank you, Danny, for the clarification. I think this is it, because we have covered attachments, we have covered the different statutes. Let me go back to the PowerPoint, and if there's no additional question on that, I will quickly explain the exercise that we have prepared for you. So we have two types of we have two exercises actually. The first part is targeted to the administrator role, and in my email that I will send in a few minutes, you are named. So the name of the administrator are clearly stated there. So for those people, they would have to create an SAT based on a scenario, a document that we will share with you, and you would have to follow the instructions. For everybody, from an SAT that we have already existing, you would have to create an SUR, again, following the instructions and following the scenario and information and data that we have prepared for you. So you will receive actually two documents for this exercise. The first one is a Word document with a step-by-step approach on how to what to do to create an SAT for the admin, and what to do to create an SUR from an SAT for everybody. The second document is an Excel sheet, an Excel document, which we call the credentials. And actually, this is the data, the information that you would have to input in either the SAT or SUR. So it's actually the unit, the category is of course military, but it's unit size, it's all the different elements that are mandatory to create an SUR. We are providing you a scenario and credentials and data information to fill it in. So please follow those instructions. We have after now, we have 1 hour. We will be available for 1 hour to support you. We will keep the WebEx session open for any question, and we will be happy to support you. Once you have done the exercise, please send us your document back to umojadfstraining@un.org with your SAT name. You remember, this is the name that is automatically created by the system, and your SUR name, the one that you have created based on the info provided. Is there any question on the exercise? I don't see any reaction, but again, no worries, we are still here available for you. So I will just stop the recording now.